meeting, I wanted to share with you ways to start your live classrooms, so your synchronous classrooms. Um, there were two ways that I utilized in the spring. You can do it through your calendar, which I didn't use as much just because I did not like that there weren't any lobbies and the students could access the classroom before I was in the classroom, and I didn't like that they were unsupervised. So I basically just created my classrooms at the exact time that they were supposed to start, and then the students would pop in. But this year, if you have the new settings already set up, then you can go ahead and create lobbies within your calendar. So I have a feeling I'm going to be using the calendar a lot this year, but I want to show you both ways that you can create a meeting. So if you need to create a meeting right then and there, let's say it is 12 o'clock and you're supposed to have a class at 12 o'clock, well, you can start a class right in your general classroom. So all you have to do is go to the top and click Meet. And then you click Join Now. But you can also change this meeting, so you could put like reading class. You can turn on and off your microphones before you join the meeting. I'm not really sure what the add a room is. I didn't really use that last year, so I don't know if that has anything to do with the breakout rooms, or I'm not really sure, so I'm not going to really teach that right now. You also have your custom settings, so you can change the microphone and speakers you're using if you're using something other than what's on your computer. So I'm going to click Join Now. I'm just going to keep these settings and click Join Now. Usually takes a minute to connect, but once you join and you've started this on your student screen, at the very bottom of their chat bar, they're going to see like the title of your meeting, as well as a join button, and it's going to be purple. So all they have to do is go into your general classroom, click join, and they're automatically in that classroom. So when they do join, you're going to see your students and the participants. There are several icons at the top that you're going to utilize. The first one is participants. So they're going to be over here on the right-hand side. And if you have a lobby, when they join your classroom, it'll say over here that so-and-so is waiting in a lobby, and this is where you're going to invite them. One really important thing to teach your students, and I can't really show that in a video because I only have really one extra piece of technology to add one test student on, and it doesn't really work with just one test student, so I'm not going to bother with it right now. But if your students are on here and you need them to focus on just you, or like I did show and tell last year, and so I taught my kids that when it was Sam's turn, they would pin Sam, and it made Sam really big on the screen, and they didn't see all their other friends, and they didn't see me, they just saw Sam. And so Sam had the spotlight. Then I taught them to unpin Sam, and they'd see all their friends again, and then it was Sarai's turn, and Sarai would they would pin her, and then they would only see her for show and tell, and then they would unpin her. And then, for example, it was Mark's turn. So on and so forth. Or when I was presenting and sharing my screen and they needed to see it big, they would pin me. Now, in order to do that, they would have to go and click on their friend's name in the participant section. So they had to click on participants, go to their friend's name, and next to their friend's name, there will be 3 dots. So when they hover over their friend's name, 3 dots will appear, and a button with a little safety pin sort of thing will pop up, and they click on that little icon, and they will be able to pin that person on their screen. So for the most part, my kids just kept me pinned on the screen unless they needed to see another friend, or they wanted unpinned, so they wanted to see all of their friends. So that's an option that you want to share with your students. So next little icon here is your show conversations. If you click on that, you'll have your conversation section right here. You can type messages to students. Students can ask you questions here or answer questions, or you can have them type like a specific word. So if you're saying, okay, I want everybody to practice, we're doing short A words, and I want you to type the word cat, or I want, give each student a different word, they could type this here in the box. So if you have older students, you can also have them typing in longer answers right here. So this is a good feature. definitely a little bit better for students who already have an idea of spelling and writing. So next feature is raise your hand. So you can teach your kids that if they have a question, because a lot of times it's just easier to have them all muted, have all the students mute. And if they have a question, which the mute button is here, so you just teach them how to click on that and they're muted, or unmute and they unclick it. Same with turn their camera on and turn their camera off. Sometimes that helps fix technology problems too, if they turn it off and on. Or sometimes if they just have it, they all have it off, it runs a little smoother. But anyways, if they have a question and they want to ask you and they're muted, they just click on the little hand icon to raise their hand. And then you can ask them to unmute and then they can answer. And then they can click their hand again to lower it, just like they would in class. Then there are a couple more actions here. I didn't really use a whole lot of this, but you can record your lessons. So you can start recording here. You can change the different views. If you have the new version of Teams, you can change the different views. You have gallery view. If you have, it's like more than 17 or 18 students or something like that. It's a large amount of students. You can click large gallery, and then you can see even more students. You can do a together mode, which puts them all in like little chairs. So that's kind of cute. And then you have different device settings. So you can go to your device settings here and you can change like your speaker, your camera. If you have like an outside camera and you want to project, you don't want them to see something on the other side, you can switch that there. So those are your device settings. Also, one other thing to note is on your show participants, whenever you hover over the student, you can also mute the student. So if you need to mute them, the only problem is you cannot unmute them unless that has changed since the spring. You can mute them, you just can't unmute them. So if they keep unmuting, you just have to keep muting them. You can also kick them out. So it'll say something like exit participant or something. So you can kick them out of that live session. So let's say somebody in the background is saying not very lovely words and your student keeps unmuting and you just need to kick them out. Kick them out. So you just do that. In any situation when they're not able to leave themselves, they're struggling technology, you can help them by kicking them out, and then they can rejoin. I had a couple of cases like that where some of my students were just stuck in the meeting, so I had to help them out by removing them myself. But that is handy. You never know when that younger sibling comes streaking behind the background without any clothes on. And so you need to kick out that participant for a couple minutes. But basically, these are most of the main features you're going to use. You will also use the share button, but I'm going to show that in another video because I'm also going to show you how to make your live sessions interactive with your students. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave and show you how to also create a meeting in your calendar. So, and then afterwards, you can also rate how your call quality was. I'm not sure if Microsoft really takes this too much into account, but a lot of times I'll kind of rate it. But if you go over here to your icons, to your calendar, and let's say I want my meetings to be on Thursdays at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to go up here to new meeting. I'm going to add a title. So I'm going to say like reading class. I can add my attendees here. So I can add all of my students right here, or I can just also add my channel. So I could add my channel. I could go to training class. That's my class, and I can go to general. That's another thing too is if you add your general class here, and then you add attendees, it doesn't really matter. It's going to go out to your entire channel. If you leave this blank and just do the attendees, it'll just send it. It'll send this alert to just their calendar. So just as a heads up, you can pick the date here. So I'm going to say the 20th, so Thursday at 8 a.m. I'm going to have a class. 8 a.m. And I'm going to say that it's going to last until, I don't know, 9 a.m. It's going to be an hour class. Two things. If it's only a class that's only going to happen one time, like it's only going to happen that Thursday, I keep it as do not repeat. I only want it to go to their calendar on that day. It's the only day that they're going to be able to join that session. But let's say I have a reading class every Thursday at 8 o'clock with that same group. I just click on, you can do daily, you can do weekly, that repeats every Thursday, starting on this Thursday. You can change it yearly, monthly, every weekday. So it would be every day at between 8 and 9 o'clock. I'm just going to do does not repeat just for now because I don't want my calendar to be swamped with all these random meetings. You can add location. I never really did that. I'm assuming you just type in like your Microsoft Teams general group, and you can put any details. So if they need to bring anything in particular, like they need to have a piece of paper with them or they need to have a pencil, this would be a good place to put that, that information right here. And then you can click send. So when you do that, it's going to populate this reading class. Now, here's the important part. If you create this meeting, this live session for this day, it's great, but there's not going to be a lobby here. You have to set that up yourself. So I'm going to let this load for a minute. Let me go back to my Teams and go back to my calendar. Usually then it's already set up. Let's see, there we go. If you go back to after you've set up it in calendar, you have to go back to that class, click on it, and you need to go to meeting options. When you do, it's going to give you this option for the lobby here. So meeting options, who can bypass the lobby? Right now it's set to everyone. And that's why you have to click on those that meeting options every time. So I don't want anybody to bypass that. I only want me to bypass that lobby. Always let colors bypass the lobby? No. Announce when colors join or leave. Yes, I want that to be announced. So that way when they're trying to join and they're in the lobby, I'll see that in the participant section. Who can present? You can also change this. If you want students to be able to present, which could be cool if they're sharing like a PowerPoint they created, then you'd want to have everybody or specific people and just type in those students. But I only want me to present. I don't want anybody else to be trying to share their screen during my lessons. So I'm going to change it to only me and I'm going to save it. So now come, oops. Now come, and then I'll click close. So now come Thursday at 8 o'clock, this class will be open for them. They can join within their calendar. They can join at exactly 9 o'clock in the general classroom. They'll be able to join there. But they're going to be stuck in a lobby until you accept them into your classroom. So you could tell them to be a couple minutes early, but that they're going to be waiting in a lobby, which will be really nice because then there won't be any students in there without any adult supervision. So those are basically the two different ways to create a live synchronous session with your students. There might be other ways, I'm not really sure, but these are two different ways that I have found that have worked really well. I'm really excited about the lobby, so hopefully that works for others, and you all are excited about that feature as well. So in my next video, I'll try to share with you what it looks like in and you can see right here my meeting scheduled. But you'll be able to see what that looks like in a live session, sharing your screen, as well as how to make that interactive and giving control to students within your live sessions. So hopefully this helped, and look forward to that next video. Thank you.